booth by Nightmare Phoenix, with Lord of the Synth doing double duty, handling both the tracking and RE streaming, and Ale Markin having rolled the seed. This round of 16 match is the second match between GregglyPuff and Cheezinator. If you haven't seen last night's match yet, close your ears or you're going to get spoiled on it. Last night, GregglyPuff managed to ride the strength of a 42 black belt to victory, whilst Cheezinator suffered by not being able to get a grind in time. I don't think we're going to be having that tonight, though, given the class choices and alerts that we've got. And for that, I'm going to toss it on over to Nightmare Phoenix.
Thanks, Tate. We got some interesting blurstings on these. First of all, let's start with our draft. Cheezinator started off with a Black Mage. Greggly followed up with a Fighter Thief. And then Cheezinator came back with his final pick of a Red Mage. This is not great considering our blurstings. Our Fighter gets BB Vitality and can carry an X-Cal, but they get minus 10 luck, minus 10 strength. The Thief, plus 2 MDef per level, plus 5 luck, but they got Black Mage strength and minus 10% to hit. So already our melee dealers have a huge nerf. The Red Mage gets a white shirt, gets plus 20 Vitality, but they can't use a Pro Ring, and they lose 20 HP. Our Black Mage gets an extra 2 levels for their level 1 magic, but that's not great when you look at the rest of it. Plus 15 MDef, can't wear bracelets, and has minus 10 to vitality. So this already is going to be rather rough. They're probably going to look for early gear and hope for the best. The black belt in this case, which nobody wanted, had extra hit percent chance at the start, but would lose 1% every level they took. So, yeah, nobody wants to do a max level black belt, so this is what we're stuck with.
Yeah, I cannot blame them for opting not to take the black belt with that minus 1 hit percent per level penalty, because that really just tosses the bright points from the normal level to disgusting.
So, but it looks like we got a lot is riding on Cheezinator to try and pull this through. Greggly's looking to just crush Cheese into dust, and take us on to a 2-0 win. So tonight, with our best of 3 matches in the round of 16, we get a free bridge, free canoe. So our options to go either direction from Corneria is great. However, we do have Town Shuffle on, which means Provoca might not be Provoca, or Elf Kingdom may not be the Elf Kingdom. The castle will still be there, but the town, it could be Gaia. So that's going to make the routing options very difficult indeed.
Gotta love it. The king remembered where he put the bridge at, but then they forgot where they put the towns at. So that's going to be a big part of the discovery. And,
all right. Corneria, however, is always going to be Corneria.
Yeah, Corneria is safe, unless you're a mad lad, and when you're making a seed for yourself, you check that unsafe start button, which is, yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah, well, if you're going to check that box, you may as well go ahead and check the other boxes to make the pirates dangerous. And it looks like we got level 1 warp. Level 1 warp is awesome. Yeah. But the bad news is we don't have any sweepers or anything damaging.
Yeah, what's a sweeper?
Well, Harm 2 technically is a sweeper.
Yeah, well,
but I mean, you don't like to see it.
Yeah, and find those gold bracelets in Corneria for 35k each.
That's a find. They're expensive though.
Yeah, and you know, the paper black mage can't wear it.
No. And we got iron chucks in the weapon shop. Oh no, we sold iron chucks. Bought iron chucks? What are we doing?
Ooh. And Cheese with the big brain play going in, talking to the king first, and getting his ship just immediately.
that's something I like to do. Immediately is I just hold up and go talk to the king, grab whatever he gives me, and it's a weird tactic. I don't know why I do it, but it gives me a key item early, unless Shuffle Astos is on, and that's scary. And that key item is going to give me an extra 5% to any XP I get.
Well, not just the XP, but also the cash growth. So I can definitely understand why Cheese did that with this seed, because those spells are hot garbage.
Yeah, we're not even going to try and take on Garland. We're going to go and see if Provoca is any better, or what was formerly known as Provoca.
See what the stand-in for Provoca has to offer. And it's Lefane.
Yeah, I hate to see it. I don't know, Cheese is going to loop right on out of there and probably go visit Matoya.
Yeah, you hate to see it. Hate to see it, unless you're commentating, in which case I love seeing it.
It's great. The good news is they don't have to make that long trek to turn in the slabs. The bad news, something else is going to be in its place that they're going to have to make that long trek. And that's the worst walk of this entire game.
I'm hoping for Elfland, personally.
Ooh, I was gonna hope for Onrak.
Onrak, yeah, that's one I would personally, just because I have a cold black heart sometimes.
Are you gonna say Melmond?
Oh no.
Oh,
I would love to see Provoca at Gaia and Elfland at Lefane.
That is cruel.
Yes,
I love it.
I know. Yes.
All right, so she's buying up some items. I wonder if either are going to take that safety strat to buy up a bunch of items to fill their slots, so that if they encounter a monster in a box, it just bounces harmlessly off, and they get to see what's in the box.
Given that they don't really have any cheap items, I'm guessing probably not. I mean, the cheapest things right now on the weapon side are 87 gold.
Chucks.
Yep. And the cheapest things on the armor side are 40 gold each. So that's a little bit much for this group.
Talk about cheap items. Houses, 916. Good deal. Heal pots, 62. Bad deal. Because you always buy those in bulk and they do not offer discounts.
Yeah, I know. If I could figure out a way to get a discount on a 90 pack of heal pots, that'd be great. But hey, at least it's not vanilla where you have to buy them one at a time.
All right. Cheese is gonna drop a tent outside of Toph. He's gonna go in and see what's up with Garland, and Greg is about to do the same thing. Oh, there's some money.
A little bit of scratch in there. It's not too bad. And looks like they're going to try and stun him and then stab him.
And it's gonna work. It's not a bad idea. It's unconventional, but hey, you work with what you got. And Greggly's making it work.
Yeah, it's well done there. Now they're just basically calling Garland Caesar and setting upon him with their daggers.
And they're just sitting back and waiting for him to fall down. Garland knocking down our red mage on Cheezinator's side.
Given that the red mage had 10 hit points, not too shocked.
Cheezinator going with the group stab instead of stun and stab. And Greggly grabbing his ship. And a slab from the princess. Well, the good news is we know where to take that. Cheese walking out, saving, then he's going to go talk to the chest.
Yeah. Save, then loot. Gotta love the monster in the box strategies.
You know, I was just about to ask questions like why do that? But monster in a box, that is a scary thing to run into, especially at this low level. I'm okay with this. That's a safe idea, and he needs to play it a little bit safe because he's down 1 win already.
If Cheezinator fails to win on this one, he's going home.
GregglyPuff finding out where Lefane is and immediately deciding, you know what, let's go south for the winter instead.
Let's go virtually anywhere else and hope that we get something. I'm wondering if we'll see Melmond at Crescent Lake.
entirely possible. And Elfland is Melmond. Well, you called Melmond, just not where you thought you would call it.
Well, at least it's in the inner sea, so they can, get the Lefane stuff taken care of.
Absolutely. And here they are checking out the gear. Gloves +2, not bad, but chain armor for 16, and then wood shield for 15. If we needed to fill our inventory, I think we found the winner here with our wood shields. This is a tomb on GregglyPuff's side. Getting that slab translated. And then warping out.
Walking is for fools.
Who needs to walk when you can just teleport? It's great. Don't worry about the fact that your molecules get disassembled. It's fine.
Yeah, it's magic. It doesn't matter. Is it really the same you, though? Really?
There's a famous story about a ship, but I won't go into it right now.
Yep.
And it looks like Cheezinator is doing the wood shield strats that I just mentioned. Filling his inventory with armor so that if he runs into a monster in a box blocking a piece of armor, it does not jump out and attack him. Unless he chooses it to.
Yep. And GregglyPuff foregoing that and just going, alright, bugger this for a laugh, I'm going to Marsh Cave.
Marsh Cave is definitely a good idea. I like this play. I don't know if Cheese is going to follow behind. I might, if I was Cheese, might go turn in my slab. But Marsh is right here. Now, if the slab turns into a floater, that would be huge. That would give me the opportunity to sail right back, sail straight down, grab the floater, and then come to Marsh.
Yeah, looks like GregglyPuff's not having the greatest time in Marsh either. He's wiped out of it, or reset out of it at least once so far.
The scary part about Marsh is we don't have any decent sweeper spells. We don't have Fire, or Fire 2 or Fire 3. We're still low level. This is not the best option here.
If he does have a pretty good, not quite sweeper spell in Run.
Run is a great spell.
Yeah, that thief with that extra luck, that's a pretty good fun, or that's a pretty good running chance.
We got 21 grand in one of the top boxes of Marsh. That's gonna pay for pretty much anything we need to when we finally run into our Elfland proper.
And Cheezinator checking out those spells at level 5 and finding, wow, these are hot garbage.
But it looks like Cheezinator is sailing over to Provoca. He's going to go turn in that slab, just as I mentioned, would be a great idea for him to do. And he's doing just that. This might be a huge play if it turns out to be a floater.
Whereas GregglyPuff is still just running from packs of the undead and slaughtering bats willy-nilly.
Now, we have two places where the canal will likely end up. That's either here in Marsh or in the ice cave. And the chances that it's here in March, pretty high.
Oh, and you called it with that floater.
Nightmare predicts again.
Oh, hey, look, there's a thief. Of course the katana has to roll down.
Well, in this case, it didn't roll -3, so that katana is awesome.
Yeah,
and considering the thief is going to be able to weather any nukes that get tossed his way, probably not a bad idea. If we can find that tail and promote early, I think GregglyPuff will have an edge.
Yep, and Cheezinator taking his floating rock and getting on the canoe and just probably going to go turn that thing in and get the hell out of here.
No one can blame him, provided these Caribs don't make his life miserable. And so far they seem to just be punchy, but they hit really hard. They merely looked at that black mage and he just fell over.
Well, it's a naked black mage with minus vitality. I'm not too surprised. You think a funny thought at it, and it's gonna fall over.
Die from laughter, yes. And our black mage is gonna be squishy for a long time. As it looks like Onrak is in Vanilla Crescent. Greggly finding a bottle out of Marsh. That's not what you want to see.
It could be better, could be worse. Not much worse, but it could still be worse, technically.
At this point, Gaia could be in Vanilla Melman. However, we still need a way to get there first. and we don't have an Oxale, so we can't even go down into the Sea Shrine to see if we can cheekily pick out our incentive item.
GregglyPuff picking up an ice shield, though, at least while Steve was down in the basement of Marsh.
You know what? If I pulled out a bunch of money, found a bottle, and got an ice shield out of Marsh, I'm not that upset.
Cheese, you cannot just drive the airship into Sarda's cave. It's too big.
Well, I mean, he did get a vanilla rod from Sarda, and he has been taking driving lessons from Ale Market. So we should probably we'll probably see a lot more house destruction in the future.
So we should caution the residents of any town that he's coming near that they're going to lose some houses.
Speaking of town, we find Provoca in Vanilla Melman, and our magic here is far better. Level 2, Fire 3, Bane, Bracken, Saber.
It's a much better selection of magic than was available at level 1. That is a low bar, though.
We got Invis 2 that's learnable, Heal 3 is learnable, but unfortunately Exit is not.
Yeah, that being said, though, he gets that tail. I believe the knight can learn all his spells in Provoca.
Well, if Vicky gives us a tail, that'd be great. Unlikely, though.
Yeah. But hey, at least he's got an actual sweeper now.
It feels good to have a sweeper, and the fire sweeper at that, because that's going to make me feel a lot better going down into March. And I saw a life spell at level 5 in the second slot. Is that Red Mage learnable? Oh look, it's a ruby. Well, that's useless.
Womp.
Well, hey, extra money gain and XP. Why not? Sure. And it's pretty to look at. It's a nice red color.
Shiny, shiny ruby. God, I love how it tastes. Wait, no, I'm not a Titan. I don't like how rocks taste. And finding Pro Rings -1 for 3,600 gold, that's a pretty good find.
That's not bad. I mean, right now it looks like our red mage is arguably going to be the weakest of our bunch, because the only thing that they're going to be able to do is Invis 2, and well, arguably we're going to find Invis 2 in a white shirt if we keep digging out all these incentive items.
I think GregglyPuff at least picked up fire, or not GregglyPuff. I think she's picked up Fire 3 for that red mage at least.
Fire 3 definitely, yes. And there he goes, trying to drive straight into Cardia. Now, checking out Cardia before finding a tail, it's not a bad idea. He does find a Pro Cape. It doesn't roll any direction, but that's going to provide some defense.
One of the few pieces of armor that Black Mage will actually be able to equip.
And at this point, he needs all the absorb he can get.
Ooh, that's not a pretty fight. I mean,
well, we do have
3.
Ooh, Squint. That's not good.
Squint, and they have Fire 1 as well, because, you know, Frosty's throwing fire. Makes perfect sense.
Lord of the Sands pointing out, with these blessings, finding a good weapon is a definite need at this point. And Cheese has not found the katana, only Greggly has thus far. But Greggly gonna get the great news about the floater, and then the dreadful news that there's a floater here this whole time. Cheese could have gotten it first.
Yeah, but Cheese managed to take out those 4 dragons and get it. Looked like party up to level 8 all the way around. Not a bad pull there.
Masamune in a box. It rolled a neutral, which is arguably probably the best you could hope for at this point.
It's not negative.
Just gotta throw out a small knife and suddenly, bam, Masamune. So checking Cardia, great idea. It really turned out well, because Greggly is likely not to check Cardia until he finds a tail.
Yeah, and if I recall correctly, Greggly is not a big fan of opening boxes, so I'm not even sure he will find the Masa.
Probably not. And that's going to be bad juju for him. not finding that Masa. He's probably hoping that he picks up an X-Cal at some point.
Yeah, he'd probably be hoping to find that Masa, but, well, we know he wouldn't be.
Well, we found a Wizard Staff and a Pro Ring in a box. Wizard Staff, I do believe, is the one that casts Confusion.
Yes, that's the one you wave in there, and people look at you and just are so confused at why you're doing that.
It's quite handy against carry, and maybe mobs? I don't know. I never really attempt to wave it in the air at other things. Hit people with it.
We have a vanilla Gaia. Except for those colors. Ugh.
Yeah, it looks like summertime in Gaia Town.
Yeah, it looks like it's not quite Halloween, because it's just too bright.
Well, Cheezinator would love to have seen this if he had the bottle. He doesn't. Only Greggly has the bottle. So when he does get up here to Gaia, he's going to be real happy that he did Marsh. Hopefully, if it turns out to be something useful.
Yes, and Crab Cakes, yeah, Greggly did not pick a black belt, because whilst the black belt had a plus 10 hit percent, it also had minus 1 hit percent per level.
So at level 10, yeah, your extra bonus hit percent evaporates, and you're just gonna get worse.
Oh, and your way level down. 8 fast. That's gotta sting.
It definitely does not feel good. But I think I saw a lock much earlier in the level tree, so it's poor man's fast, and it does stack. So that might be useful.
Yeah, whilst it won't double the amount of your hits, it'll at least stop things from getting out of the way of them.
Alright, Greggly is taking on the Bicky crew. And with that Fire 3, he's going to make very short work of it. Speaking of Fire 3, rolling low against Zombles.
Yeah, and the Bicky boys have burnt butts now.
And Greggly getting that Ruby once again after Sarda. Not feeling great about that.
I'm thinking the only reason he didn't reset out of it is because, well, I bought spells. And hey, Elfland at Lefane.
Level 3 nuke. Then again, it also has Lightning 3 and Ice 3, so much for finding sweepers elsewhere. But level 3 nuke, what else do you need?
Yeah, level 3. It's where all your sweepers 4 live.
That nobody can learn.
Yep, level 3. It's where your sweepers live. That's kind of what it boils down to here.
So here we are at Elfland, and guess where Elfland was? Because I think you called this. Elfland was indeed Vanilla Lefane.
Yeah, though, they got the floater early on, so it doesn't have that same sting as when you get the floater really late in the seed. You have to go through most of the seed with level 1 magic, and then level 5 magic, because Lefane and Provoca are both floater locked.
It definitely seems to be my curse for the night. Oh look, Lock 2 and Lock at level 4.
Hey, level 4 has a use. Huzzah!
And we got Harm 4, Cure 2. I mean, it's not nothing, but it's
not great either.
Yeah. GregglyPuff hidden Onrak. I have a feeling we might see Cheese go visit Onrak shortly as well. Another interesting thing, GregglyPuff, knowing that the bottle was in Marsh, now knows that the incentive item in Ice Cave is the canal. And since he has a floater, it is totally not worth going. So he can totally just gloss over ice and worry about finding something worthy to take on elsewhere.
Yeah, and that means, hey, #NeverIce pays off because, man, screw that place.
And if the bottle turns into something vaguely useless, #NeverMarsh could also pay off in Cheese's favor as well, depending on where he goes next. But again, my bet will be Ordeals as he lands. Now with that early warp, this is going to make Ordeals very, very easy.
As long as you can remember where you've already been, you just like, oh, hey, I've been here before. Warp on out. Or warp on back, one should say.
Talking to Chad about promoting and picking up Ruse. It's definitely a solid plan if nobody finds a defense sword. Picking up Ruse can really give the fighter the chance he needs to live long enough in Topher, especially with how bad these blessings are.
And it looks like the zombie or the mummy packs are running with sleep touch.
So are the Argoyles.
Arr, those goyles.
Yar, they're a pain in the butt.
And yeah, Shadowed Flames. The floater was hiding at Lefane, which was at Provoca. And the slab they got from the princess. And Melmond was at Elfland.
So it wasn't quite a, oh, I'm the king, here's a floater. It was a couple extra steps, but it was pretty much that quick.
Yeah, king gave him the ship, princess gave him a floater, or gave him a slab, and yeah. Turns out they just had to turn that slab on its side, and it started levitating.
And they just threw that into the ship, and suddenly, and they're in the air. Speaking of suddenly and in the air, two things have nothing to do with the fact that Cheezinator has found his grind, and that is two fighters in front of the early chest in Ordeals. Greggly getting the TNT out of Ordeals, not bothering with any grind. He's gonna touch another box, get some decent armor, and leave.
And as Clementitas has asked, how often do people actually check that spike tile? In my opinion, not frequently enough. There's been some times there's been some pretty good stuff there that people have just walked on by.
I mean, granted, it is a linked chest, but that linked chest could be your ticket out of Ordeals real quick, especially if you're there a little too early and you have exit. It might be worth your time to check that, pull whatever you need out of there, and then leave. Alright, GregglyPuff is likely going to go turn in that TNT, see what it turns into besides a power load.
He's probably actually going to drop by Gaia to see what's there, and he's going to be happy to find that it's Vanilla Gaia, so he can turn in that bottle.
Yep, as he pop opens that bottle, checks out our spell list, and black magic is gross. White magic will never have anything good here.
Finding some more cheap houses, this time in the bad area of Gaia, apparently, because they're still real cheap.
Well, they're in the middle of a drought, as you can tell from the shade of orange. And it turns into the loot, so Marsh Cave is required.
Womp womp.
You hate to see it.
And GregglyPuff about to go find out that Lefane is hiding Elfland and all of the sweepers.
He's going to be real happy that he came here, though. He's going to find Nuke at level 3, and it's going to open up a whole lot of options for him. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he takes that those spells and goes sits in the desert for a bit, finding some Tyros to beat up on.
I kind of would be. He's a little too squishy to be doing Tyros yet, I would think.
Well, maybe we could find some sandwiches. You never know.
And thank you to RPG Limit Break for the raid. Welcome, raiders, to this round of 16 match between Cheezinator and GregglyPuff.
We may as well go through a quick recap to this point. Here's the blessings in chat right now. Fighter gets Black Belt Vitality, holds an X-Cal, -10 luck, -10 strength. Thief, +2 MDef per level, +5 luck. Black Mage strength and -10 hit percent, -10% hit rate. I'm getting tongue-tied. Red Mage can wear a white shirt, has +20 Vitality, but no Pro Ring, minus 20 HP. Black Mage gets extra 2 charges for level 1, gets extra 15 magic defense, but loses 10 vitality and can't wear any bracelets. I'm gonna have dreams about that now.
Dreams, nightmares, you know, 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
It depends if I like it or not.
All in how you perceive it.
Alright, Greggly restocking up on items, doing some quick math. We're gonna go find some level 4 spells. And realize, well, Lock is a thing. May as well get Lock 2. He bought Lock 1 first for some reason.
Menu, that's the only thing I can think of.
I was wondering if there was some benefit to Lock over Lock 2 or vice versa. I want to say Lock 2 is AoE, but I only ever use it against the Fiends or solo targets, so I never notice if it hits anything else.
Yeah, I think I could probably count the amount of times I've cast Block 2 on non-bosses on 1, maybe 2 fingers. I don't really use it all that often on not boss mobs.
Cheezinator finding the return to entrance pillar just outside of the room he was grinding on.
Yep, and Crabcakes, thank you for verifying that Lock 2 is AoE.
I still have terrible memories of playing the vanilla and using Lock and realizing suddenly I am dying faster, and I don't know why.
Why can't I hit these guys?
Why are they hitting me more? Yeah, vanilla is broken. It's like vanilla, except it's crunchy and there's weird things wrong with it.
Hey, and GregglyPuff finding the shiny rock for sale at Underhill.
Shiny rock, more like tough rock. And that adamant is going to probably turn into a chime or oxyale at this point.
Turn into a metallic tail as well.
Could also be a key, which would be very, well, key.
Yeah. Level 6 spells, we see Temper and, well, Zap to a lesser extent, but I would be surprised if they did not pick up, or if they picked up Zap because, well, Temper.
And speaking of chime, Greggly finds the sages, and they just have bells lying around in the vanilla on rack.
Onrak or Crescent Lake at Onrak has the jingle bells apparently still hung out.
It's perpetually Christmas time over there. As Greggly's gonna give us our first look into the waterfall cave.
You know, given the pink color that they had there, I would assume it was perpetually, I don't know, Valentine's Day?
Or spring, depending on, you know, the continent. And because it is kind of a peninsula-like island, could be possible. They could be cherry blossoms.
Maybe. Or they've just done some massive terraforming and have just planted a whole bunch of cherry trees.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nah, except for allergies.
Well,
you know,
you're gonna get that anyway.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it looks like Cheese managed to grind his fighter up to level 24. And that's a really decent level to stop at, especially when you have a Masamune.
That is the first big breakpoint for the Masamune and the fighter.
And she's grabbing his explosive bundle, and he's gonna touch the Wiz-Sahag Great Shark tile. And he's gonna probably run from it. It's gonna take a while to beat them down.
You know, it'd take 5 rounds if they wouldn't put him to sleep and would stop scorching him.
He's decided, you know what?
You still
should
have
probably
nuke
still need to run.
charges. You still have nuke charges. At least I
No,
think
he's got 0. He bought nuke, but he has no charges for it.
Well, ignore me then. Oh no.
Oh,
no.
No. That is
jeez.
gut-wrenching. He just spent the better part of the last 10 minutes grinding out his fighter to level 24, and now he's back to level 10. He didn't make it. He is definitely not in a good headspace right now.
Yeah, that would be a point where I would be very glad that I didn't have audio on stream, because it would just be nothing but a string of expletives in the most creative and disturbing ways.
GregglyPuff touching up on the robot, getting some herb.
I found this growing in this cave. Do you want this? And Crabcakes to answer your question as to what happened. Cheezinator was on the spike tile right before the exit, and he got wiped by the Gersharks. Well, Gersharks with Sahags.
They touched him, put him to sleep, and then scorched him and frosted him to death. Does he commit to grinding again? That's a tough call.
I'd be surprised if he doesn't at this point, honestly. I mean, he's done it once. It's just got to get taken care of. But maybe he'll keep a nuke or two in the back pocket just for that tile.
I wouldn't say no to that. He also might take an extra level or two, just to get a little bit more health to get through it. And he did start off that encounter by trying to run. So instead of running this time, he may just fight through them and avoid all that nastiness.
Yeah.
Comment in chat, holy, look at so many wooden shields. There's a very, very, very good reason for that. Have you ever played Breath of the Wild? No, I'm joking. He has them because we got Monster in the Boxes. And if your inventory is full with whatever item that box is trying to give you, the monster won't jump out at you because you can't hold the item. So if you fill up your inventory with weapons and worthless armor that's really cheap, you don't have to take fights that you otherwise wouldn't want to take anyway. And it looks like Greggly did not buy the item until just now. And the herb turned into a white shirt.
Which, hey, that's armor for the red mage.
Especially since it rolled +2, that is great armor for the red mage.
Also, I can understand him not buying the adamant at this time because, yeah, it was 50k, and it's one of the easier places to get to on OnRag.
Absolutely, especially with inertia.
Yep, because, oh no, he did buy it, and it got forged into a crown.
That is a quite indestructible crown, and we have the TNT. We may as well go turn that into. Do we get a key? We got a crystal. So apparently, blowing up that canal way gave us access to some semi-precious stones and minerals.
That or he was just holding on to the crystal, She'll get her crystal back when I get my explosives.
Ooh, and it looks like Astos is holding on to a power bonk. So, not progression here. This means, it looks like we gotta go... Oh, man.
Everywhere except ice.
Yeah. That's a good post.
Yeah, that is a good point.
Deadpool's pointed out that the ice could have the key. Canal could be at Corneria, because Corneria's inner sea, that could absolutely be where it is. So, hashtag Never Ice about to blow up in our face.
Potentially.
Well, I take it back. We just got an Oxyale. Key could be in C. And C is located at Crescent, if I'm not wrong.
I'm gonna go buy some more heal pots first. Or, yeah, I can't blame him.
So, the good news is Greggly is making progress. The bad news is Cheezinator is trying to reclaim the progress he had.
Yeah, geez.
And it's slow going at this point.
Man, having to redo that grind is just painful to see. But rando's gonna rando sometimes, unfortunately. And GregglyPuff walking into a very algae build sea shrine and needs to be shuffled around and potentially cleaned, but it is kind of pretty.
Now, if Sea Shrine is just has waves of nastiness, this could be great news for Cheese, because once he gets the levels up, he's going to be able to walk through Sea Shrine with never mind.
Well then, that was an easy find. Does he keep looting Mermaid's side, looking for, ribbons and or the masa, which is not there?
So pulling the cube out of the Sea Shrine is basically telling us, hey, your progression is in Sky. So we're likely gonna find that's where we're gonna find our key.
Or the tail is in Sky. One of those two.
That would be obnoxious.
Yes, it would. Come on, you've done comms with me before. You know I have a penchant for the evil.
Well, yes, and I love it.
No, I'm not gonna calm down, Lord. No, it's much
all
too
this
fun.
All this is gonna come back and bite you when you start racing again.
Oh yeah, no, that's a low bar. I mean, I expect that. I relish it. It's fun. Wow, and those blue dragons are made out of tissue paper. Holy moly!
That is a great find.
Unfortunately, it was just the dragons in a box.
Oh, well, if we run into any of them on a spike tile, might be great.
Well, and jumpy cats and medusas in this box. Jumpy muting medusas. Ew.
We don't have any good gear, so we're just gonna run from this. Whatever's in the box, it can stay in the box. We don't need this nonsense. Wow. Who knew that the mermaids were stashing monsters in their area?
I guess they're sick of people coming in and turning them to bubbles. They wanted their revenge.
At least this one goes down to fire quite nicely. And we got less than 300 gold. Not worth.
Have some pocket change.
Yeah, no thanks. I bought everything I need.
Yeah, as disgusting as that green is in the ocean, it does present kind of a pretty looking sea shrine, I'm not gonna lie.
It definitely does fit. I've seen worse.
Very much.
Cheezinator getting through ordeals finally.
I'm hoping he saved a nuke charge just in case.
I'm hoping he saved 2 of them. I'm hoping he was able to get any of them, because when he went into this, he was level 10, and I don't know if he had enough charges at level 10. Alright, we
GregglyPuff finding more monsters in boxes that are hiding. My God. So
there's, what, 12 boxes here in Mermaids?
Yeah, is...
There's only 40 to 43 monster in a boxes in this game.
Oh no, Cheese. Come on, Cheese. You gotta get away. Alright, yeah, he's just gonna go for the, hopefully murder strats.
Unfortunately, he took out the wrong one and he wiped a second time.
Oh no, Cheese.
The tilt is real. The please get your F's in chat, because my heart goes out to him.
Oh man, that hurts. That just hurts to see so badly.
At this point, I would run in, take walking grinds, grab my TNT, and just get out of there. I'm tired of this place, tired of looking at it. I don't even want to hear the name of this place again. I am done.
Yeah, these... Oh my God. Just keep your people alive, get your stuff out, and go. And Greg got out with Lucky Run.
Greg had a thief that was still standing and cast the run spell, which was super effective. That's how he managed it.
If I recall, he also had a smaller pack of things there. Oh, man, this just hurts to see.
All right. GregglyPuff scoured Mermaid side and came out with arguably nothing.
Bunch of monster XP, and
Sure. Ooh,
yeah,
that's not a good tile to find.
it could be worse. It's just the one whiz hag though.
Is he doing it again?
It looks like he might be, but it looks like he's doing it as a full party this time, rather than downing the red mage and the thief.
He might take it to a smaller level this time and then leave. That might be the better play.
Yeah, I could definitely understand him getting him up to like 15, 16, and then noping out, and then taking a walking grind the rest of it.
At this point, I would, yeah. Knowing when to stop your grind, find something better, even just go take overworld grinds once you get to a certain level is far better than just punching your face against this. And the tilt that he must be feeling is not good.
Yeah, I legitimately feel bad for him, because you hate seeing a grind wasted, and it just hurts to see a second one happen. And it's not because of, anything that he was lacking. It was just straight up RNG just went nope and flicked him.
At this point, though, you have knowledge of how the RNG is going to play in your favor. And with that knowledge, I'm going to have to be a little bit riskier, but far more cautious on where I go and how long I spend there.
Well, GregglyPuff finding the defense sword in a pretty easy to find place in C. GregglyPuff still also looting, probably looking for ribbons and the, invisible
Aegis
moth
Shield?
stuff.
Aegis Shield's not bad. It rolled down, but I'd go pick it up. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's poison resistance once you promote.
Stone resistance as well.
And yeah, crab cakes, I would be highly doubting they'd be walking back to pick up Bruise now.
Speaking of poison resistance, Nachos with poison damage, and that's gonna wipe GregglyPuff right out of Sea Shrine.
Well, hopefully he popped out and saved after he got the cube.
He did. He warped all the way back out.
All right.
Dropped to 10 and went back in.
All right. I was too busy mourning Cheezinator's second grind to pay attention to that, apparently.
It's all good. All right. It looks like we are keeping most of our party alive this time on Cheese's side. Doing 3-man instead of 2-man. Definitely going to go better for him. But going to take a longer. Here's a thought. Would you go ahead and progress through to get that final item, and then would you go back into it to this grind tile to take it? Because with that TNT, it's going to give you a little bit extra XP, and maybe that 3-man grind might be a little bit easier.
For an additional 5% XP, no, I wouldn't take it, just because it's just that much more time, and having wiped twice, he already is probably feeling a really hard time crunch.
With that in mind, I guess what I do is I just get up to like level 20, maybe 21, and I grab the TNT, I leave. I go turn that in, and I start progressing again. Because at this point, I've spent 30 minutes in the same spot, and I'm not feeling great because I've already lost one game.
Yeah, it's not a pleasant thing to see, and I really hope that he shoves some potions down that red mage's throat.
Yes, he does.
Now if we can just find a way to, actually shotgun potions without just hammering on the A button. And it looks like, he went to about 20 and then is like, all right, I'm done with this. I'm sick of this. Let's get the hell out of here.
Not worth it. Absolutely good call.
And he did not use any spells on it, so he might actually have something just in case things go awry again.
Just gonna come out swinging. Ooh, hold A to chug. That would be a good implement. That'd be great.
Yeah, it's called a turbo button.
Well, except you'd still have to attempt to menu in between. Unless you're just trying to fill up that first slot.
Yeah, shush, quit talking sense, you.
Alright, Cheese round to the corner, not going to touch any boxes, but the one with the lamp, I mean the TNT. And now go back for it. Is he going to go out backwards?
That would be a thing. Though you really can't, unless he saved all his warp charge. Okay.
He did save all his warp charges.
Okay,
Is it enough to get him out?
Yes, it is. That's
very good.
Yeah.
You know what? Absolutely the right call.
Yep. Because you know what? Screw those sharks and whiz-zags.
And he saved. He's locked it in. He is out.
Honestly, if he could at this point, I think he probably would be throwing them all out of a cocktail into Castle Lord deals on his way out, and then just walking away.
He still has a nuke charge. I'm sure he casted on it as he left. And of course, cool guys don't look at explosions.
Well, John, I would hope that you know him. It's your brother.
Man, that would be awkward if you didn't. He does find some sandwiches, so that's going to make him feel a little bit better.
Yeah, hopefully he can, now just find some stuff to keep a walk and grind going, as we've got GregglyPuff knocking on the door Kraken.
So with all that time lost, he does have some decent levels. However, I think GregglyPuff has more levels at this point. No, not quite.
Well,
a little bit behind at level 19.
Yeah, if you include the Thief, he's got more levels overall, and oh my god, the red Ankleos are doing bad things to him.
Well, at least he got through the fight. I would have run for that fight. Alright, GregglyPuff going for Brack strats.
Brack and a miss. Trying
Throwing up that defend +1.
And sacrificing the Thief.
And
Brack broken into pieces.
Level 2 Brack. Let's go. Alright, and that's the water orb lit for GregglyPuff at 48 minutes and 40 some odd seconds.
And yes, crab cakes, Cheese can save a good amount of time by not having to go to mermaids. So, that's at least something. And yeah, GregglyPuff may very well not loot those chests in Cardia.
Well, no runner has found a ribbon yet.
Looks like Greg is looking for an overworld grind and just keeps finding that red Ankleos.
And normal Ankleos. Not a fun cycle here.
Yeah, this is not being good. And yes, Cheese just traded the TNT to get the crystal.
And with that crystal in hand, he's going to go restore sight to Matoya. And in turn, she's going to give us, Oxyale.
He's going to give us her old scuba gear.
I'm like, oh, gee, thanks. Now I get to go to sea. Wonderful.
That blue stake is a bit chonky, and looks like it has mute touch, too. I'm not sure that's a good grind.
At this point, all he has is that fighter. He decides to go for it. Or at least try to get out of it.
Cheezinator about to find where that adamant is. Has the catch to get it immediately. And it looks like that might have been a sandworm, but my eyes aren't quite quick enough. I mean, I started to see what looked like it may have been a silhouette of a sandworm, but then he reset.
Alright, Cheese burning off an encounter, braving the waterfall journey.
GregglyPuff going to the worst clinic in the game.
Well, it is there, and it does help. Where if Lafane is in the vanilla position that it's in the world, I would argue that is the worst clinic in the game.
That's because it doesn't have a clinic.
If it's vanilla, it doesn't have a clinic, but we are running with Lafinish Hospitality, which gives them an inn and a clinic.
And I just realized that you meant in vanilla location, not in the vanilla game.
Oh, sorry.
Sometimes I have a little bit of a slow brain.
It's a little smooth. It just kind of glossed right over the top of it.
If you listen closely, you could actually hear the kapoing as it bounced right off.
Alright, Cheese is looking for nacho grains? But he's going to run into that poison damage and realize, oh, okay, never mind.
I think he was burning off some encounters before going on in.
It's a good play. He does need all the ketchup he can get. That was a involuntary food joke. I apologize. Well, he doesn't know what ice or marsh have. So he knows one will be the canal, but he's not sure what the other will be. So if he does marsh first, he's good. If he does ice first...
That being said, as Deadpulse did point out, ice could have the key.
It very well could be. It absolutely is possible. We haven't found what's up here in Sky yet. Great. And Cheezinator getting his strange glowing green thing off the waterfall walls. He called it an herb. I'm thinking it's moss or lichen.
Yeah, just
probably algae.
A big pile of moss that the robot scraped off the floor. Here, have this.
No, it's specifically an herb, which makes it a plant, not a fungus.
You can call it a plant. It could just be a dried fungus.
We could call it a vegetable and be a little bit closer.
There's a true point there.
Alright, finding a lot of whiz mummies in boxes.
Yeah. And yes, just to answer this in chat, the winner of this set goes on to face Dengwu. So you're not going to see Wu versus Puff in the finals, because it's either going to be Wu versus Cheese or Wu versus Puff next round.
So GregglyPuff pulling the tail out of the greater than side of the room. That's a good find, but it's not our key, which means at this point we have to go to ice.
Yep, key is in ice, and they've locked the construction equipment away in the closet of the Castle of Corneria. Those slackers.
And then they lost the key, of course.
Oh, of course. They can't keep their hands on that key. It's just like they set it down, it disappears. It's like a wallet.
It's why they call it a magical key in the game, because it just vanishes like magic.
Yeah, if you notice, they only have the one key on there, because if they put it on a key ring, it would just take the rest of the keys with them, and then they'd just be hosed.
Well, that's exactly it, because you have a locked room in the Northwest Castle, locked room in the Elfland Castle. There's locked rooms in the Temple of Fiends.
Rooms in Marsh. There's TFC.
Locked room, yeah. I'm surprised there's not a locked room in Sky.
It's because Sky comes so late, they assume that you're here, you're going to have a key. Hello, Eyeball. Goodbye, Eyeball.
Squish. Ugh. Unfortunately, GregglyPuff has still not found a decent enough weapon to swing, but because he has that tail, he's going to be able to at least swing a Defender Sword, which is not the best sword to swing, but hey, swing what you got.
It's a perfectly cromulent sword.
And Cheezinator has gone to Marsh, which means he's going to find his bottle. He's going to go turn in the bottle and realize that this did not this was needed for the loot, but is means that I still have to go down to ice. But he does find his katana. So now that our Dan Runner can possibly do something.
And it's, yeah, Kyodoshin, it's a katana -1, but it's not a katana -5.
Crabcake's requesting that we add an elevator to Sky. If you get the key, you go to the elevator, go straight to the top.
Jeez, what are you doing? Why are you going down to loot more? You've got the masa, you've got the incentive item. Please,
well, the bottle is down in the bottom floor.
No, it was in the linked chest. Oh no, you're right. I'm a derp. It is on the bottom floor. I'm gonna shut up now.
It's okay. You're fine. Here, why don't you have one of my drinks?
Yeah, no, I don't need anything like that, because yeah, I'm derpy enough without. Yeah, because I forgot the bottle was on the bottom floor. Yeah, he's got to go down to get that, and well, maybe he'll find a ribbon if he checks the locked chests, but he can't because he doesn't have the key. I'm just all out of it tonight. Holy moly!
It's okay. We're here. We'll do it together. GregglyPuff finding an opal bracelet, which is great.
Opal -2. It's a pretty solid piece of armor.
However, I'm not sure who's going to put it on. There's a bottle and the vanilla incentive chest.
On the thief. It's at least something.
Alright. GregglyPuff healing up his party, and he's gonna make that Bridge of Destiny play here real shortly. So, everybody with him, get your little robot chickens ready.
Hail the robot overlords.
Send out all your good vibes to RNG, and maybe, just maybe, we might see our favorite little robot. Because at this point, Cheese really needs that to happen.
All hail the robot basilisk.
Robo Basilisk? Isn't that Roku's monster or something? Roku's Basilisk?
Yes, it is.
Ah. All hail Robo Basilisk.
Whoa, and Puff just noping on out of Sky. Guess he didn't find anything he was looking for, so... Oh no, his Black Mage got offed. That's why.
Cheese is gonna go venture into Volcano. Now, would you be touching boxes if you were Cheese at this point? Ooh, Greggly is gonna promote.
I would check the free boxes, but I wouldn't do much more beyond that.
Considering GregglyPuff does not have a decent enough weapon.
And I would also, yeah, I would check the armory as well, because that is a super densely packed chest area.
Well, GregglyPuff is now in the Cardia Isles. Does he check some boxes here? Switch around some armor, and Cheezinator. Did he go and touch boxes in the armory and walk out?
He's on his way over there. And yeah, I don't imagine GregglyPuff's doing this just to get the spell charges, because he's got the defense sword for the knight. He might get some charges for the ninja.
Oh, the hairpins.
Ooh, wow. But if he were actually going to do anything useful with the ninja charges, he'd have to walk on down to... Sorry, distracted. He'd have to walk on down to Lefane.
We're checking Cardia. He's
All
saving
right.
the air. He's definitely going to check Swamp, and that's where the good stuff is.
Yep.
GregglyPuff is gonna have a decided lead here very, very quickly. Alright, Cheezinator went up to the hairpin to check that double chest there. Checks the one that's just available.
Didn't bother checking the one behind the trap tile, because it's down to just his poor little squishy black mage with minus vitality.
Hey, little black mage can do it. I believe in him. GregglyPuff, finding his Masamune, he excitedly moves things around to equip it. Can't equip it fast enough.
Yep.
And he's out. Cheezinator finding another pro ring. And a lot of money. Flame +1.
Yeah, it's all right.
Wood +1.
Well, yeah, that's a low bar. But overall, the armory not really providing tonight.
Why is they not equipping the power? Oh, because it's night. Never mind. I know what I'm talking about, guys. Don't judge me.
Well, not equipping it because pro ring.
Oh, yes, that's right.
And
because you can't wear rings and gauntlets at the same time.
Yeah, and yeah, as Zenobian, it would have been more interesting if the Masa were behind that air chest or, any other trapped chest, but the runners got lucky tonight. Masa was just laying out in the open.
And because of that early floater, everyone could have had it super early. In fact, Cheezinator had it in like the first 20 minutes. Alright, Cheezinator now gonna go do his water dive.
Is he going to do the quick check on floor 1 and find? He is.
Yep, and hey look, it's a cube. Cool, I'm gonna go kill Kraken now, bye.
Suddenly I don't have to worry about mermaids. Great, screw this place.
I think Wall is outside of the spell range, Thundercloud. Spells at pointing out, remembering that the thief gets +2 MDef, and saying that we should be grinding the thief. And in the pre-race times, while we were looking all this up and the racers were getting ready, I was really excited about that thief, and I'm still, right now, thinking the thief would have been a great early play. We had ground out that thief, we had an early katana. This could have been a different story for Cheezinator. Alas, we did not. And here we are with the thief once again being overlooked. And several people in the community are crying.
Yep, Cheese finding the defense sword. And yeah, I don't believe we've actually seen Wall for the runners this seed.
Let me consult the notes.
Yeah, I just looked at the notes. I didn't see it in there.
There's a high chance that Wall's somewhere level 7 or Gaia or Lefane. Level 6 Crab Cake says.
Alright, well, CC apparently having better eyes on it than I did. Which, low bar.
Well, it's one of those you blink and you miss it. I don't think either of the runners are going to go back for Wall. No stress, Synth. It's all good. So it is learnable. They could go get it and forego trying to find a ribbon. But probably not. They might not do it.
Yeah, let me see. Level 6, that means they have to go back to Crescent Lake, which I don't remember where it was right now.
Crescent Lake? Melbourne?
Oh, yeah, that's it. So that's actually not that bad of a place to go and, potentially swing on by if you remember it. Alright, Cheezinator coming up to Kraken. Throwing out white shirt, throwing out, looks like a temper. Oops, that fast. Throwing up the defense sword, because Kraken. Yep. Tossing out some nuke, and then watching the red mage get taken apart by Kraken 1, because Kraken 1 still going to take things apart.
Kraken 1 is very, very punchy, and that's not a good sign, because that means Kraken 2 will probably be a little bit more spell happy. But we get through it, Masa in hand. Cheezinator lights their first orb at 105.41.
And Cloudy 1, the reason why the background is grass for this is because Town Shuffle is on. And when you enter a dungeon or a town that's not in its original place, it takes on the color template of the town that it was in. So you ended up with a green, grassy sea shrine.
So, if since we do have a power block, we have a white shirt, we have the katana -1. There's a defender sword out there. Focusing that ninja would actually be a pretty decent strat, and that ninja could very possibly be able to hold its own deeper in Topher.
Well, it looks like Cheese is actually, or not Cheese, but GregglyPuff is actually potentially getting some levels on the ninja, or maybe he has it up as an ablative meat shield right now.
Ablative meat shield. I like it, but I also hate it.
I can't remember who I stole that from, but I heard it and I'm like, I love it. I just absolutely love it.
Thanks, I hate it. Cheese is checking a lot of boxes. They're early, easy boxes to get to. Hoping for a ribbon. Finding a red dragon trap tile. I'm pretty sure that's a trap tile.
Yeah, it is. And yeah, the ribbons have really been just MIA this seed. Like, there's a lot of boxes opened on both sides and no ribbons to be found.
GregglyPuff just nomming on the best blue steak in existence. Finding a Zeus gauntlet. -1. That's, well, that's infinite cast of lightning too, at least. Save some spell charges on some of the weaker mobs. Especially those packs of Sahags that we end up finding. Lord of the Synth is calling ribbons and ice. I honestly, I saw it in chat earlier and I forget who said it, but I'm going to say the ribbons are in Carrie's floor in Topher.
That would make me smile as well.
That would be the most evil thing. So, Cheese on his Carrie fight. He's going to take Carrie out, no problem. And there she goes.
Bill Merilith, I'm going to punch you in the face.
We are going to go to ice. Maybe.
Apparently not. Where are you going, Cheese?
Cheese, you're going to Scott. Why?
Cheese is on the lighting a orb warpath.
Oh no. Cheese is thinking, okay, I need the key. I just did C, got the cube, so obviously I have to go to Sky, right? So he's thinking the key's in Sky. He has to go there anyway, may as well do it now, get it out of the way. I like the thought process on it, but I hate the fact that I know that where the key is, and he was just right there. Ah!
Yeah, no, this is an entirely viable play from his perspective, and it's something I could see myself doing.
At the same time,
which also kind of sets off red flags when I can see myself doing it. But
there's nothing wrong with going to the place where you need to light an orb anyway.
Yeah.
Lighting your orbs when you can, as soon as you can, is always a good strategy, because that means you don't have to do it again later.
Yep.
So I cannot fault him for doing it. I hate that I question it only because I know where the key is.
Yeah, we have meta knowledge, so that's the Overlord's perspective.
But what we're looking at right now is he's gonna go in and find a tail. He's already looted Cardia. He finds a tail, runs over, promotes, comes back, re-equips all this stuff, and then just goes for Tia. Greggly is grinding out to do his Tia fight still, but Cheezinator has 2 orbs lit to Greggly's 1.
I think Cheese is probably going to find the tail and then just keep climbing on up to take out Tia, rather than risk the double dip. He'll promote after crushing Tia. That's my thoughts on it.
If he wipes though to Tia, that could be incredibly detrimental, and that honestly would crush me.
That's a true point, and yeah, it's. GregglyPuff has once again gone from GregglyPuff to Greggly Crunch. having his fighter at level 35 and his ninja at something a little bit below that. Either way, though, 2 murder machines.
Yeah, he's just gonna start smacking away. He's not even gonna pick up the rest of his party. This is the 2 men who are going to climb to the top of this giant tower and crunch down on Tia.
Climb to the top of the tower and then knock a dragon off the top of it and just watch it go flying out that window.
Cheezinator making his way up pretty quickly, grabbing his tail. And you're right, he's just going to keep on going up.
It's the play I would make, which, I mean, once again, sets off alarm bells for me because, you know, I'm not the greatest player. I'm aware of this. I kind of suck out loud, but I have fun, so that's all I care.
Well, that's the best part about FFR and the community in general is having fun.
Yeah, pretty much. And, yeah, oh man, those are some scary red boys on GregglyPuff's side.
So, in order for Cheezinator to win right now, he needs to keep whatever momentum he has in getting through. He can't let GregglyPuff get ahead of him on things. And he does have 1 extra orb lit. So, touching these boxes, yes, you're looking for a ribbon, but I wouldn't do it. I would just straight go at this point. I've wiped way too many times. I spent so long in trying to get my initial grind. The floater was fast. The monster was readily available. I gotta go. I just have to go.
I think the fact that Cheezinator just skipped by the boxes on floor 2, because I don't think we saw anything useful out of those from when Greggly looted them. And it's that floor, whilst it's got some great XP fights on there, it's a mess.
Speaking of getting ahead, GregglyPuff is on Tia.
Six hits for 166 out of that ninja, while the fighter is just getting his dodge on. 5 hits for 60. And power bonk time. Ninja swing.
And
4 hits, 101.
2 of those were crits.
Another power bonk. Ice 2 from Tia, just doing a little bit of chip damage. 6 hits for 54 with a few crits. 6 hits for 76. 4 hits for 270 something, it looked like. 6 hits, 640.
Wow.
That's a better swing. That's more of what we would be expecting to see. And there's GregglyPuff's second orb.
Greggly is going to make a mad dash to ice now, because ice is usually a place people go early on. But first,
he's gonna take the walk down to Lefane to get spell charges.
Spell charges wake his people up.
Yeah, probably wake his people up. But I mean, honestly, I would rather walk to the worst clinic in the game than walk down to Lefane just to get spells and wake people up.
Ale pointing out that GregglyPuff using those sweet airship strats. GregglyPuff, a known graduate of El Markin's airship flying school.
Flying airships, how to crash them into things and not get sued.
Of course, Greggly still has nothing on Cheezinator, who has twice now attempted to drive his airship straight into the living quarters of both dragons and Sarda. As he finds the mute deuces. And we can't cast Nuke while muted.
Boy, I hate running into packs like that.
So our knight's just going to start swinging, and we're going to start running with everybody else, and hopefully one of 2 things will happen. Either they'll all eventually fall down, or we'll get out of there. And we got out of there.
Good, man. I was actually glad to see that it was the Medusas casting heal, because if it had been those Catmen casting heal on themselves, ugh, the wasted time on that.
All right, Cheezinator finally making it to the Bridge of Destiny. Are we gonna see our War Mech? GregglyPuff managed to dodge, but Cheezinator, so far safe.
Alright, Greggly flying to the north. Probably gonna swing by Volcano, crush a Marilith, and then probably hit up Ice Cave.
Yep. I like it. It's a good play.
Now the question is Greggly gonna touch any more boxes, or is he just gonna rampage on through?
No.
Rampage on through.
I don't need to touch anything. I got a katana. I found a masa.
The only thing I'm gonna touch is the attack. Or the attack button.
This is hold A and pray territory coming up.
There's no prey in this one. There's just hold A and murder. Oh man, getting close. Getting so close to getting to the end of the bridge before the Nachos with Damage Poison jumped him and turned his Black Mage into a sleeping floor mat.
Well, that's his name, Matt. Because he lies in front of the door. Never mind. And Cheezinator going to take on Tia. Cheezinator probably gonna play this one a little bit safe.
He's gonna defense sword, white shirt, and power bonk a few times.
Can't blame him. It's a good strat. That'll keep any punchiness from Tia down. Ooh, 3 hits once every 3. Red Mage barely getting through. Gonna throw another white shirt up.
Red Mage doesn't matter if he lives or not. It's the fighter who matters. And here comes GregglyPuff walking up to Carrie and...
walking through Carrie.
Yeah, almost.
A lot of block going out. I think a fast went out too.
And yeah, Saracen, Cheese still needs to hit up Ice too.
Right now, Cheezinator's extra orbs he's got is what's keeping him in this.
GregglyPuff is now taken the orb lead with having 3 orbs lit at the 118 mark.
Seconds later, Cheezinator ties that orb lead.
Yep, and into Ice goes GregglyPuff with all 1,000 warp charges that they have between all the characters.
Ice is going to be a breeze. Cheezinator still has a shot. He's probably gonna, because he's over here, gonna go promote and then go down to Ice. Checking Ice earlier would have been much better for him, but hey, you know what?
Yeah, I'm not sure if he'll hit up Earth or Ice first, honestly.
I mean, I'm looking at the time, I'm looking at what I have, and what I've been through.
True point.
I know I need that key. I absolutely have to have that key in order to even think about Topher. So, getting the key first and then doing Earth would probably be my bet. Why are you walking out, Cheese?
He's walking out because he's already promoted.
No, everyone else is asleep.
Yeah.
That's why he's walking out, because he has no warps.
Because he's just dragging a bunch of corpses along with him.
And we're gonna go and heal up here at Vanilla Onrak, also known as Crescent?
Yes. Or wait, is it Crescent? Or is this... Yes, Crescent. Alright, good.
Ooh, I still got my memory. Alright, we're good.
I don't have mine at all. Then again, I don't remember when I last had a memory.
It's okay.
Oh man, and GregglyPuff finding a 3 Gasty tile. Ooh wee.
Man, coming to Ice early probably would have paid off. That's a decent grind tile.
Yeah, though I don't remember how chonky the Gasties are, so it could have paid off. It also could have hurt a whole lot.
I mean, if the blue Ds go down to probably a quad X, Gasty is probably a little bit quicker.
Well, not necessarily, because the stats are rolled independently, so... It's not like, you know, because the blue Ds rolled, you know, down on hit points, that the green Ds are going to roll down on hit points. It's all idempotent. But yeah, Cheezinator, it looks like he did pick up wall there, so he's at least got a modicum of protection in Topher, and he doesn't have to really do too much more digging for ribbons.
Cheezinator not going down to ice. We're going into Earth.
Yeah, he was closer to Earth when he was coming off of on-rack.
It's an absolutely a decent play. Good routing. Of course, with Melvin being, I think, Lefane or Provoca, I probably would have gone and clinicked there instead. And there, indeed, is our key from the 3 chests outside of the Stairway to Heaven, or the Stairway to Earth, to Overworld again.
Or way to safety.
There we go. I like it. GregglyPuff is in Orb and Go mode.
He's still got to walk over Lich. That being said, it's not like it's going to take more than 45 seconds or so, I'm thinking.
Of course, with that said, she still has to get down to Lich, and he's going for more boxes.
Ooh, picking up life on the Red Wizard. Smart idea.
It's a very good play. Having some kind of white restorative magic in Topher is usually spells the difference between victory and defeat, especially with 2 very solid runners. Being able to pick your party up off of a unfortunate turn is always going to be huge and allow you to rebound and keep going.
Yep. And here goes Greggly, rampaging through Earth.
Now, I don't agree with Cheese constantly touching boxes here. I have a bad habit of still touching things, looking for ribbons. Ribbons are probably the biggest greed item that I keep looking for, even when I'm arguably well suited to handle any of the, further obstacles I gotta worry about.
I mean, I can agree with checking some of the easy-to-get chests, like this one. But anything that's out of the way, I would be wary about that. Like, I might hit up the Earth Armory because we have so many warp charges.
All the warp charges in the world are very handy. I'm used to running seeds when I don't get it warp or exit, and I have to walk everywhere.
Yeah, those hurt to see. And they're both walking up to a vampire, and let's see how quickly the vampire goes down. Nuke a swing, and oh, wow. Almost.
Hi.
Yeah. Ooh.
Meanwhile, Cheese has to get through a monster in a box, and this is not bad experience, so Cheese is going to take it.
Can't blame him, but oh man, if this is anything less than a ribbon, it's wasted time at this point. And, I mean, I feel bad for him at that point.
And all he gets for his troubles is some money. Sad to see.
Yep.
At this point, I know that my armor slots are all filled, my weapon slots are all filled. So if I see a monster in a box, it's nothing I need.
Yeah, just nope on out of it and run.
Then again, that was decent XP. Still, with the god knowledge that we here have in the booth, you don't like to see it.
Not at all, unfortunately.
As Cheezinator steps into the Earth Armory, and GregglyPuff steps onto the Lich floor.
Yeah, I think GregglyPuff has just gone, you know what, I don't have a ribbon. I'm just going to have to risk it, and, well, without risk, there can be no reward.
Now, the benefit, though, is the ninja on GregglyPuff's side does have all those MDef built up. So, basically has a built-in ribbon itself.
Yeah, and if needs be, you can always swap gear around if the fighter dies and the ninja lives. And Vorpal -3, so it's only slightly worse than it normally is.
Oh, hey, look, we found the X-Scout. Nobody has a ribbon right now, and Cheezinator is hoping to find a ribbon, but he finds 2 weapons that are, well,
not so much, yeah. Alright, at 125.35, we have GregglyPuff entering Topher.
Now, Cheezinator opting to take the Masa off of the Knight and giving him the X-Cal, putting the Masa on the Ninja, I don't know.
No, I think he put the Masa on the Red Wizard, so that he can basically have the Red Wizard and the Fighter both swinging for damage on the bosses without having to worry about things.
Well, then again, so does the ninja.
Yeah, but Cheezinator's ninja has been very closely examining the floor for a long time.
Still is, actually. So it looks like the Masa is indeed on the Red Wizard. Not a bad spot for it.
And down goes that speed bump. Speaking of speed bumps, we have GregglyPuff entering the Earth floor now.
Cheezinator still has to go to ice.
Oh man, that he does. Oof. Looks like Cheezinator remembered that there was life there, which is a good thing there. And down goes Lich 2. I looked away for, 10 or 5-10 seconds, and then it was gone.
Nah, I don't even think there's a theme there. You must be joking.
I don't know, I might be hallucinating, man.
Yeah, the ninja on Cheese's side needs to take lessons from Lich, who is only rumored to exist.
I love how much disrespect we end up giving to Lich and Lich 2. It just always makes me giggle.
All right, carry 2. We're fighting, nuking.
Carry 2 up, and carry 2... Ooh, not quite down. Carry 2 swirly. Getting a little bit of damage out. Not enough to take anyone down, including the paper mage.
Decided to throw some lock 2s out, make sure that she doesn't dodge this massive attack.
Yeah. Hold still while we stab you. And down goes carry 2.
Cheezinator checking the incentive boxes, finding a whole lot of nothing.
GregglyPuff entering the water floor and finding a seafood party plaque pretty quickly. And getting away from him before anything bad went out.
That's not worth it. I have fiends to fight.
I've got bigger fish to fry. Butt hunch. Let's see, rearranging things, putting up the ablative meat shields, because really, as long as the Red Wizard doesn't get murdered, he can just bring things back. Oh, Kraken 2 starting off with a nuclear, though. Tossing out a few nukes on him, though, is, let's see how you like the radiation, then, jerk. Alright, GregglyPuff taking down Kraken 2 with having no casualties, surprisingly enough. Took some damage, but, that's why you can shotgun heal potions.
At this point, I'm surprised they don't have an IV set up.
I wish that we could. Just have the constant drip feed of healing potions.
Alright. GregglyPuff going into his tier 2, finding the Twilight Fan Club first. And very, very correctly running away from them. And it looks like we're just going to power through Tiamat with some nukes and some punch.
Nukes and stabs, nukes and stabs.
Cheezinator buying fast at level 8. And I think he did find his key, so he's on his way to Topher. Unfortunately, he's probably going to get into Topher just as GregglyPuff is getting on to Chaos as Tia puts up a tornado. Trying to do their best to slow GregglyPuff down. Alas, the ninja managing to get the final blow.
Down goes Tia 2, and GregglyPuff at 130.50. Yeah, 131.50 or 130.53, entering the Chaos floor and getting ready to go full on murder machine. Swapping the party around and no longer needing to have the red mage around. All right, we've got Temper coming out, followed by, well, looks like a wall. Not a smart or not a bad play here. Followed by Lock 2 and defense. Lock 2 Chaos, making it a little easier to hit. Wall comes out, making sure that the fighter doesn't fall down a crack. Temper coming out, making it a little stronger. Defense Sword, getting the hit out. You know what? The meat shield served its purpose. We got Temper, and down goes... Ooh, no, not quite down goes, but more Lock. Keep that Chaos holding still, because you don't have fast. Lock and a lock.
Just lock for days.
Yep.
And down goes our red wizard.
And that's 6 stacks of evasion on the knight. Time to bonk up a bit. Bonk 1. Ninja surviving still. Nuke time.
Chaos being much more punchy, not spelling.
Yeah, ooh, down it goes. 6 hits for 542. Not that absorptive. Doesn't have that much absorption. Quad X, too much hit points. You can't Quad X me. 6 hits for 625. 6 hits, 785, and down goes Chaos. Get your GGs out and chow.
Let's see, that's a race time .gg official time of 1 hour, 32 minutes, 21 seconds. GregglyPuff takes this 2-0 against Cheezinator, and he gets to go face Dangbu next.
And that beep in my ears means we are joined by GregglyPuff in chat or in the voice call. So GG's Greggly. That was a mean looking machine that you had there in that night.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, GG's. It was a good. It felt pretty good. It was good stuff.
With all these blurstings, everyone was wondering, why didn't you take the black belt? But we had to try and explain how awful the black belt was.
Yeah, so I ran. Okay, just I'll go into it now because I'm sure you guys already went over it. But I ran a black belt with the negative 1% per level, and I think that I got to level 31 before I got my 6th hit, which is something that you get at level 21. And I think I had to go all the way to 47 to get the 8th hit, which is something you would get at level 32. So when we saw that that was a blursing, or I'm sorry, a malice, we just were basically like, yeah, that's not going to work. Or at least that's kind of how I felt. So I actually chose the fighter and the thief. The thief for all the run chance, and of course the fighter, because the fighter had the least amount of malices.
Yeah, I checked the breakpoints beforehand, and the breakpoints for the unarmed black belt attacks were 10, 26, 42, and 50. So yeah, it was a wise idea to avoid that. And either my connection just went down or everybody's being real quiet.
Yeah, no, we're all being quiet.
I'm like, oh crap, don't make me nervous like that.
Do some research and look at things behind the scenes, and I'm like, then Hate's got this. Greggly has to talk about what's going on. That's fine, we're good. And then I was like, man, it got really quiet.
Yeah, it was
just all right. So like my whole run was just feeling like, well, you know, I'm not gonna, in my opinion, I'm not gonna beat Cheezinator in menuing or execution, right? So I need to do my best to make sure that I'm prepared for things. So I just went through my game like I normally did, thinking I was gonna lose, and then I think I realized there was T-Rexes outside of Mirage, and I wanted to get to a certain breakpoint on the Massa, and because I had the Katana -1, but the thief wasn't super good. I think he had like a malice of strength and something dumb, something that made him terrible. But I was like, well, I could go double melee, but I'm gonna need to have some levels. and I wanted to have the extra breakpoint on the masses, so that's why I went way up to 35, especially since I didn't have fast. I just wanted to make sure that if I went into Topher, that I was going to make my way through Topher, because the boss scaling is a little bit higher with the 100 to 200% HP, and I think it's 80 to 200% stats, so they're going to roll higher on the stat edge. So I just wanted to make sure I was 100% kind of prepared for what Topher would throw at me.
Yeah, which makes sense given that we just saw Kraken hit Cheezinator's knight for 500 damage or so.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, thankfully enough, it was the knight, so it was meaty. But yeah, that was a hell of a swing there. So I also have to ask, what was the reason you chose Thief as your second draft pick?
I just like to be able to run from things. I think that the Black Mage had a Malice to Luck, or I don't know. It was like two bonuses, 2 malices. I have no idea what was going on. I just wanted to make sure that if there was something dumb in a box that I didn't want to have to deal with, that I could run away from it. So the Thief not only is a thief and it's going to run from things already, but I think it had a plus to luck, +7. So that to me makes me go, okay, well, you know, I'm gonna use this guy to make sure I can 100% run away from things that I don't want to have to deal with. And then, finding the katana pretty early on made me feel pretty good as well. So,
okay,
and it looks like Lord of the Synth is helping us out here with everything. So
Yep.
That's all the stuff. So, oh yeah, and he had the MDef. That was the other thing too. The MDef, I was concerned about finding ribbons, and I knew that +2 MDef per level was basically a black belt. So if I got him high enough levels, which I think he's about level 35, he was going to have some pretty decent MDef. So that's like one less ribbon I had to deal with.
Given that neither of you found any ribbons this seed at all, I have no idea where they were. Yeah.
I put my bet that they are on the carry floor. This is the only place I could think of that arguably nobody really checked. Unless they're behind Topher locked, which is also a possibility.
Probably in the master chest.
Yeah.
All 3 of them carries floor.
That last locationing the key though, that must not have felt good.
Well, I figured the thing with that though is I figured we were both going to do it because of where it was located. So in this game, the canal, the ship, and the canal and the ship can only spawn in the inner sea. So when we got the ship from the king, and we both found what was down in Marsh Cave. It doesn't matter what was in Marsh Cave, but it wasn't the canal. So the thing that was really left was, well, the canal's got to be an ice cave. So I think both of us were I assume both of us thought that same thing, because that's exactly what I thought. I just figured, but I also in the back of my head knew, key could potentially lead to canal and Locked Topher, or not Locked Topher, sorry, Locked Canaria.
Which is exactly what it ended up being. Granted, nobody went to go check and make sure, but we ran out of places to check, so that's definitely where it was.
Yeah, this was definitely a seed where the hair ornaments were just hidden away somewhere.
All the stabby things were out in the open.
All right, and let's see, we've got Cheezinator going up against Chaos. We've got defense. We've got Power Bonk. We've got the fast coming out on the night. And
fast.
See, yeah,
level 4
in
level 8.
Oh, level 8. Oh yeah. Sorry, I just saw him.
Got a wall hitting the red mage, keeping the red mage alive while he throws more walls out. Got more defense. Got some tempers.
Down goes our
down goes the ablative meat shield, which kind of not surprising there, but that's a hit that didn't hit anybody important.
Now it's time to lock 2 up, and I think we're gonna power bonk, or are we gonna start swinging?
I think it's swing time. 10 hit for 366.
That's a real good hit. Throwing 4 tempers out, and down goes Black Mage.
Trying to throw some tempers out, getting crushed instead. Never mind.
Chaos is not long for this world.
Yeah, not so much at this point. Not with the amount that Cheezinator is swinging for. 10 hits for 653. Throwing out some more nukes and some more swings. Stabby, stabby.
That was a big nuke hit, 293.
Yeah.
And
And
another 10 for
88.
8. And that's it. Get your GGs in chat for Cheezinator, who we have here. Two GGs.
GG Cheese, and my sympathies to what ordeals did to you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me here. GG GregglyPuff. That was a very intense match, especially for me mentally. After the second wipe in ordeals, I was basically having a full-on anxiety attack. I was having trouble just calming down and figuring out what kind of play I was supposed to make instead. Because, like, when you wipe a grind, you obviously know, it's heartbreaking, right? Sometimes it's just game over right there. But the first time I assessed that it didn't matter, that I still needed the levels, and that I was just going to hope for turn order and maybe nuke on those Wizsay hags the next time through. And that didn't work out. So I lost 2 grinds where I took both the fighter and the black mage all the way up to 24. And of course I did that because fast was in Gaia and I wanted to get fast charges. And with the fighters being like 130 HP or something, it just seemed like the freest way to do it. So I wiped the second time. Life is tragic. And then I'm like, all right, there are a couple different things I could do here. I could leave ordeals and never come back. I can, I couldn't do exit, right? I'd already filled up my magic slots, so I couldn't get exit. And I could try to like leave up my full party and maybe run my way through the Sayhags, but I thought, well, my thief and my other stuff, they're just gonna blow over to the blizzard and the frost, so that won't work. So eventually I looked at my level 1 charges and I saw that I had 12 warps. So I decided to leave the red mage up and do what ended up being 10 backwards warps from the TNT, including a walk back to the staircase to save me 1 warp.
I do have to say that was a very impressive play to see from our side. Like, that was, that's the first time I've seen somebody warp all the way out of ordeals from the exit.
It made the difference, too. You were able to take the TNT and what levels you were able to grind out of there and start making progress again. Had you not taken that initial wipe, it still looked really good in your favor because you were able to find the early Masa, I believe, at that point, and were able, or if you found that just after it, I think. But you had that super quick, and that second wipe is where I think everything fell apart, unfortunately.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah, you lost about 20 minutes total to those 2 wipes, and as we can tell by the times, that 20 minutes would have made a large difference.
Yeah. So Greg, it sounds like you also kind of full cleared looking for ribbons and didn't find one.
I mean, yeah, I looked around for ribbons for the most part. I mean, I dove mermaids because I always go. I was going that way, and the cube was like in that first box that I checked, heading down towards mermaids, and I was like, well, there's more chests down this way than anything. And then, of course, I get down there, and like every single chest has a monster in a box, so I'm killing all these monster in a boxes for like 56 gold and like just dumb stuff. And of course, there's no ribbon, so at that point, I'm feeling like mega behind. Luckily, I was able to just go up. I wanted the Aegis shield that was in Sharknado, but nachos were guarding them, and they had poison. Which
yeah,
was
the
not
damage
very
poison nachos
pleasant.
were super bad. They almost, actually, I think they did take out my black mage in Sky.
Yeah, I was in Sky. I lost my black mage in Sky, and I warped out with my red mage because I wanted to keep whatever levels I had gained in Sky. And then I left and did some other stuff and then came back. I think I did class change at that point, found the Masa. Then I went to Mirage Desert and ground T-Rexes on my fighter and my ninja until like level 35. And then I went back into Sky, and that's when I like started like really just going, because at that point I had a Masa and a Katana -1. And so I just, because I knew Fast was level 8 because I hadn't seen it yet, and I was concerned about where my black mage was on levels. So I just was like, well, I could either 3-man grind with a black mage and make sure that I have enough fast charges, or I could just 2-man grind and like just get absurd levels on these 2 guys so that they can actually land some hits.
And just one quick thing here before we move forward on that. GregglyPuff, I have to say thank you for thwarting the mermaid's monster invasion plans by, murdering all of the monsters they kept trying to hide in those boxes.
Like,
Okay, so yeah, if I had known that there was something basically better than the fighters, right, like out in the desert. I didn't check the desert though. Big ups for remembering to do that. If I had because I think I was in the area. I made the ordeals play because it was the neighborhood play. I had just checked the towns in the vicinity. So if I check the desert and I see T-Rexes, then I'm never going to invest in the fighters the way I did. But they were there, and it just like you almost never see a better grind in your life, right? It's like low HP, low evade fighters that you can just kill for free, basically with anything in your inventory. And of course, if it had been a black belt seed, things also would have been different, but we were both denied our favorite class. Oh man, Rando is just genuinely gonna Rando sometimes.
So,
Yep.
Thinking back to the spells that you had available, we saw that you did go pick up Wall eventually, and that definitely helped you get through the chaos fight.
mhm.
What was your thought when you went back for Fast? Like, was that an option that you were hoping for, or did you just do it because you saw it there?
Me?
Yes,
Or
sir.
Okay,
I never got Fast.
Fast was in the plans since like minute 10, right? I think everybody who watched me grind the Black Mage would understand that. But Wall and Temper with no ribbons seemed like an obvious buy at the Crescent Lake, which was at Onrak location, because like you get off a Wall, first turn or whatever on Chaos before a Bane or a Crack or something comes out, and that's the difference between Topher, Wipe, and not, and that the 2-minute investment to go to that town is going to save you 10 from a potential wipe. So it seems like the worthwhile investment.
I've run out of questions. I was sitting here just flabbergasted at the amount of hate that this seed threw at you, and the fact that you soldiered on, got through it, and still finished with not a horrible time. GG's, you totally showed that seed that it wasn't gonna break you.
Cool. Thank you so much. I have two things to say. One is answering Lord of the Synth in the chat. GregglyPuff and I obviously, would have liked to reroll. He proposed it, but I mean, I don't know if there's anything in the tournament rules. I'm sure it's not allowed to reroll on blurses, so we were stuck with what we were stuck with. It would have been a very different night tonight otherwise. But Greg, I want to ask you just about the early game. Like, actually, Garland with Fire 3 Imps and Garland being like a stun and what else sort of fight. Like, what did you do about Garland?
I opened boxes, got money, picked up silver swords, and stunned him and hit him until he died.
Okay, same. I think a silver knife, same thing.
Silver knife. That's what I meant to say. Silver knife. Because they were cheaper. I just grabbed the gold out of Topher, which I think it was about like $7,000. It was quite a bit of gold.
Yeah, it was good money.
And Topher. And so I went in there, left. I mean, early levels were pretty tough until we could get in the air, which, I mean, obviously the early floater, that was super nice. I actually didn't get in the air until way later, because I got we got the slab early. I saw Lefane, and then I saw Melman, and then I was like, well, I'm over here, I may as well just go dive into Marsh Cave real quick, which was the bottle. But I mean, it was required because it ended up being the loot, but it was still like time I took away from getting into the air.
Yeah. So interestingly, when I saw the magic and the weapons, and then of course the Fire 3 Imps making it impossible to like even afford a silver dagger, I just went up to the king, and the king gave me the ship, and I was like, huh, well, this could be the cheeky opening that maybe makes the difference. And I take that, I go to Matoya, get cash out of Matoya, and come back and then make the same play you made with the TOF chests. So it's all a wash, but I just found it funny. Like, that was one of those early games where you have to have like the backup to the backup strats,
Yeah, it was quite
No.
interesting watching you both set upon him as if he were Caesar at the Senate. Just stabbing him and stabbing him.
I was actually really shocked that Greggly, you grabbed stun and then did stun stab strats. That's not something I ever would have considered, and it worked really well. He didn't really pose you much threat, and then you got the ship as well.
Yeah, it's one of those things. If you have to decide really early on if if magic's really bad. No sweeper spells, nothing that can actually do direct damage. You have to figure out at that point, what can you do with those level 1 spells? So like a spell like Hold, Stun, Confuse, those kind of spells can really, they help you deal with the annoyance that is obviously Garland in the early game. And as long as you can put a weapon on one of your guys, you can land a confuse, he's hitting himself, or you can stun him or hold him, just any way to stop him from being able to attack. And that gives you just those extra rounds to be able to take him down. So it's always one of those things that, you have to think about, especially in the early game. Even if you never use stun again throughout the rest of the game, if you can use stun to just kill Garland real quick, just to keep progression going.
It's definitely a good lesson to learn, and one that I think I'll definitely take to heart. Cheese, you went and grabbed that ship early from the king, and that's something I tend to do. Is I tend to just run up to the king and get whatever item before I even check anything in the shops or anything. I don't have any good defense for it, other than that little bit of extra XP and money growth will help me when I do decide to go to Garland, or if I take any fights outside of Corneria. Was that something that you factored in when you made that decision? Or
I
was
wouldn't
it
factor in experience. The experience you get off of Garland or anything in the first area is so insignificant that even bumping it by 5% doesn't do anything. The king play is something I learned all the way back in Chaos Rush, the first tournament I played in with GregglyPuff 2.5 years ago. Really fun one then. When you have something like Maza or Power Gauntlet or just whatever, like some kind of good gear in the pool, which this one doesn't really, but when you have something in the pool, it's good to have in your toolbox to go straight to the king, because sometimes you get a King Maza, and that's what unlocks an otherwise grindy early game with like bad magic. This time it was purely just like, maybe the king will give me the ship, maybe the king will give me the floater, and I could just bypass this whole Garland thing and go do something else. Turns out, I still went through Garland, and it was the right play because it led to floater with Sarah's slab. So, but anyways, yeah, what Greg did, what I did, like, I really do hope a lot of the newer runners were watching tonight, because there's so many things to roll into your bag of tricks. There's so many like points where runners have to make really hard decisions and major adjustments to figure out how to move forward. And so it was my suffering, but I hope for the sake of everyone else who's going to be competing in this derby in a month or so, that they learned something tonight.
I certainly have, and as a duckling still myself, I'm very happy I got this opportunity to watch two amazing runners show off their improvisation skills in this horrendous seed.
Your suffering is our education. That's a really horrible way to put that.
That's not going to be the new boot camp tagline, I'll tell you what.
I'll just give my Greg, best of luck going forward. Honestly, just take a black belt and take it all the way and show them how it's done. Roll that. Do you still play with the black belt sprite that looks like you?
No, I lost that about a year ago when my son spilled water all over my computer. So
oh no.
Yeah, so it's gone into the ether. Well, I should go back and recreate it again. But yes, I agree.
Just take the memory of that Greggly belt. Take the Greggly belt all the way to the end. Do it for us black belt players. I had a really fun time in this tournament. I think, difficult or sometimes frustrating flags aside, I was presented with a lot of challenges this tournament. Some tough losses that also involved a lot of different FFR challenges, right? I had a tough one in brackets, or not in bracket, in pods. That was still fun to play. I wouldn't call last night and tonight fun start to finish, but they had their moments. And it's certainly been a joy to watch the tournament. There's been some really close matches, a lot of, Tophers with a lot of drama. So thanks to everyone for putting this all on. I'll be back for the next big tournament. I usually skip co-op, but I'll be back for whatever comes after that. And thanks to all the organizers, the people who've been putting on these broadcasts night after night, especially handling when, best of 3 scheduling. Thanks to Randomania and Lord of the Synth for putting us on with the restream. It's been a pleasure. I'm going to be playing lots of Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide Randomizer, so if you're interested in that, just follow that bang R in chat that goes to my channel. That's all I got for self-promotion.
Well, then I guess we'll turn it over to GregglyPuff for your final thoughts. You get to move on in this tournament, and I believe Dangwoo's your next opponent. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I've already messaged him to tell him that Teamwork for Dummies is exploding. Teamwork for Dummies / Cake and Break / whatever. We're exploding. It's gonna happen. We got to take on each other. It's a spring tournament 2020 with some rematch, and this time I'm gonna beat him because he is just flabbergasted by these flags, and I feel like I sort of have an understanding of them. So we'll see how it goes. But in all seriousness, I have had a lot of fun. It's crazy to see all the good runners, like the really, really top tier runners that have, ended up getting pit each other, especially in the quadrant we were in. Cheezinator, myself, Thunder, Burt Reynolds, Dangwoo, all of us, and Cheezinator's a phenomenal runner. Phenomenal. He is the SG Live champion. He went 3rd place last year. So to see him go out in the top 16 is kind of insane. And for me to have won still makes me feel like I fluked 2 wins out of him. So I don't know. I'm just he's really awesome, and that's it. I'm excited to go on to Dangwoo, but I want you guys to understand just how really awesome Nader is and how good of a runner he is, and I feel like I kind of fluked a couple wins out of this. So moving on, I'm super excited. We'll see what the top 8 does.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's been. I watched your match last night, and it was pretty much an edge of the seat match the time, and it was a damn good match to call tonight as well. So thanks to both of you for putting on such a good show for us, and just for demonstrating how solid runners you are.
Well, that just means they bounce back when seeds get them down. Well, I guess I'll go ahead and finish this out. Hate, if you have nothing else.
Last things I just wanted to say would, thanks again to Cheezinator and to GregglyPuff for putting on the great show. Thanks to you for commentating, and thanks to Lord of Synth for restreaming and tracking for us. Go follow everyone else. Go do it. And if you're interested, come join the Duckling program. We only just started the 2nd week this week.
Yeah. As Hate said, the Duckling program, fantastic opportunity to learn this randomizer and get to know your fellow Ducklings, and a lot of opportunity to learn and have just a total blast. So with that, we are gonna get ready to go raid Angel FM, who is another friend of the community. And what are they doing tonight, Lord of the Synth? As I hear furious typing. While
Dragon Warrior 4 rando, that's not something we see a lot of. This will be an interesting one. Stick around, folks. Go give it some love.
Yeah. And as always, Remember to go fast, and much love and thanks to everybody who put this on. It's been great.